More signs that Japan's economy is slowing. The Tertiary index rose 0.1% in the month of June, slowing from 0.9% from the previous month. Mike Firn's in Tokyo to talk about how significant this data is. Hi, Mike.
Hi, well, this is the broadest measure of demand for goods and services in Japan. So we're seeing a slowdown virtually to a standstill. It measures demand for things like shopping, mobile phones, public transport, and consumer spending is about 60% of the economy. So it is very significant. Now, on Monday, the government said that GDP had slowed down an annualized pace of 1.4% in the April-June quarter. That is only 1/4 of the pace of the previous 3 months. Slowing export growth and a rising bill for imported fossil fuels are threatening Japan's economic recovery. The government says growth will continue, but says manufacturers need to be aware of the risk of a further deterioration in overseas demand. One former Bank of Japan economist says exports may shrink this quarter, but then recover, helped by demand from Asia.
Japanese exports not contracting sharply. I mean, probably temporary drag in the third quarter and some positive gains in fourth quarter. That's what we're expecting. But as you said, I mean, Europe is not slowing; it's contracting, and U.S. growth is quite it's picking up, probably picking up in towards the end of the year, but very slowly.
Weakening overseas demand is not the only threat. Second quarter consumer spending was the weakest in 5 quarters. The third pillar supporting Japan's economy is public spending. It rose 7.2% in the April to June quarter as the government funded reconstruction on Japan's quake and tsunami-devastated northeast coast. That's only half the pace of the previous quarter, though, and it may slow further as reconstruction comes to an end and the government tries to reduce public debt. Of course, it is worth bearing in mind that the first quarter figure was revised upwards on Monday and it had already been revised upwards once, so we could see second quarter GDP being revised higher as well if we get some better than first forecast figures for consumer spending and capital spending.
Hey, Mike, you talked to a lot of experts there. 0.3% for the second quarter isn't anything to brag about necessarily, but in terms of the folks you're talking to on the ground, what are the economists saying going forward might be a catalyst for the economy?
Well, they're saying going forward we're going to see a slowdown. They say that there was an easing in growth in China, Europe, probably yet negative growth, but that may change. Now, according to the Nikkei survey in the paper today, we're going to see growth slowing from 0.3% on a quarterly basis in the previous quarter down to 0.2 this quarter and 0.1 in the final 3 months of the year. But then they say that China is going to rebound and that's going to drag Japan up as well because China is Japan's biggest export destination.
Mike, thank you as always.